it was absolutely horrible. Oh wait, hold on, I am getting dropped frames. What's going on? Sorry guys, just sorting out the little divots at the beginning. Okay, we're all good, but I could still do a few things like closing some tabs. But yeah, yeah, it was horrible. Like, I was waking up from the pain. I didn't have any Nurofen on me, like I'd recently run out. I had to take like 5 showers overnight because that was the only way to get my muscles to relax. I had no idea I was so stressed until my body just snapped out of it. But hey, we're here today and we're gonna keep going with the world building templates that I have been such a fan of recently, and just developing our knowledge on yeah, world building, because I think it's really cool, because and taking into account that just gonna open my note software, just taking into account that a game is like, I feel like although gameplay is really important, the immersion and storytelling and the depth of the narrative is what makes something memorable. Because, you know, like, it's very easy to just have someone walk around and pick up herbs, but if there's no reason for that herb picking, what's the point? And yeah, it gives you that. Sorry, I don't know why am I yeah, so adding to that. And oh, and fun little downloadable that I have for you guys. I've been recently playing Terraria to help me calm down, and I'm one of those people who hates crafting a house from scratch. So I have been what's been going on? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so I hate crafting. I hate making a house from scratch. So I'm going to upload my schematics that can be used with T-Edit for you guys. And you can put them into your own worlds. I have a fully wired house with plenty of teleporters for fishing, because fishing is a huge thing to me in Terraria. Or, you know, you can just use them for other things like your battle arena or whatnot. And I'll be adding to it as I need to. Like, they'll, but currently there is a prison for all of your NPCs that you don't really need or visit like once a eon, plus a pastable addition, so you can just add to it as you go. There is a, oh, my brain. There is a elevator trap home thing. A elevator with a lava trap attached to it. So, you know, on those blood moon nights, I guess. What else is there? And yeah, there's the house. Oh, and fishing tubes. So basically, you can put them anywhere. They've got enough of the biome stuff around it, so you can put it literally anywhere and you're gonna get the biome that you need. You just need to repaint it, like instead of grass tiles, you can put like jungle grass tiles and it'll have the same effect. So yeah, feel free to enjoy that. There's also a vault in every one of the fishing tubes, so you can also, you know, do your fishing quests with ease. But yeah, just I'll make a downloadables section on my website, and maybe I might add other things to it, like, I don't know, if I decide to go back into Blender and make desktop backgrounds. I don't know, like that kind of thing. And yeah, I've been meaning to get back to my old mouse cursors that I made. Yeah, so a bunch of fun stuff for you guys later on. I see I've got someone coming in. Hello, hello. I don't know who you are, but I acknowledge your presence. Hello, hello. But yeah, that's just what's been going on for the last couple of days. But yeah, I'll make sure to link it up so you guys can enjoy that. I wonder how Wix handles file hosting. Anyway, so jumping back into world building. Last time we were up to plot, I believe, and I had made my way through the first section. Hello, humble genocide. You are lovely. Yeah, so we had covered the generic section of plot, so now we're going to be going into structure, I believe. Sorry, I've got a bit of a cough. I'm all good. I'm COVID free. I'm just also, I'm quite sensitive to temperature changes, so I was exposed to the cold for about, like, I want to say, like an hour or so yesterday. So that's, like, just that has given me a sore throat. My immune system used to be impenetrable. Now I'm just like, a slight breeze will give me a sniffle. Anyway, so going into structure. Alright, so learning to spell properly, so structure. So yeah, Freitag's pyramid. Alright, so wait, is that what we did? Oh, we did structure last time. Whoops. Alright, components. That's alright. This is part of components. Alright, breaking your story down into building blocks. It's more of internal dialogue with an outline of a story as it will be moving. Okay, so it's got like a little info byte, so I'm just going to slot that in there. And just read it out to you guys. Contrary to Freitag's pyramids, the components panel focuses on breaking your story down into its building blocks. It is more of an internal dialogue than an outline of the story as it will be moving. This methodology is commonly used by storytellers with more open-ended action to supplement their possible to-happen structure. It's about understanding the who's, why's, and what's of your story. So I imagine this is what D&D Dungeon Masters or would be more likely to use. So understanding the individual characters, and then having a thanks Barney Rom, lovely. So, I don't know if you're being serious or not. Yeah, and so this would be more closely used by D&D Dungeon Masters, so understanding each of the characters and the surrounding narrative in order to adjust to players and their unpredictable tendencies. So let's just go into the different building blocks of this narrative style, I guess. So first we have goals. And according to... I've got so many sarcastic people in my channel, I'm just like, wait, hold on, should I don't know. So goals describe what the intended resolution of the protagonist is, their motivation. It can be one thing or 10, but a goal must have a soul and reason behind it. This can be anything from a reward, monetary or otherwise, to more complex goals like saving your long-lost love from the jaws of death. So the last D&D campaign I was a part of was very paladin very kind of paladin based. There was like this demon gate that cultists were trying to open, so that is a result, so that is a goal. And along the way there are like micro goals, like let's save our friend from this, you know, bandit cave, or, you know, I, like my character in particular, I was saving up money to help a friend or like a family member. So this is an example of the, so I guess this is more like a collection of notes rather than a kind of like a story structure. The next section we have is hooks. Oh, sorry guys, just had a constant hi, so, I can't tell if you're being sarcastic or not, mate. Could you clarify that? Because just trying to educate here. Yeah, so hooks. So from my writing experience, hooks are usually what kind of draw people in. So it's the first line or the first paragraph of a written novel. But according to this world building examples, hooks, as the name denotes, are pieces of action or knowledge which aim to nudge the protagonist into action. So using the D&D examples, obviously the friend who is in a bandit cave, the friend is the hook, because otherwise why would you go? Glimpses of hidden truth, dangling carrots for the donkeys to follow. Hooks can be presented as clear as day or can be used subversively to change the understanding of your protagonist during a longer period of time. Okay. Alright, so yeah, I've just had to ban that guy because he was being quite rude. I don't understand where that came from. But hey, that's gonna happen sometimes. Alright, so that's quite interesting. So this could be a, so let's say someone offered some money earlier on, but they found out that, they were from, a devious purpose. Yeah. Alright, so yeah, like obviously that would be a monetary reward. The next option is stakes. So stakes counters. The stakes are counters to hooks. They aim to add to the drama and substantiate the goal. Stakes describe what should happen if a goal is not reached. They instill the fear of failure and should be balanced against the potential gains. So, for example, so at the bandit cave, obviously there's the stake of danger. So in which event, yeah, so that would be an example. So again, this story structure is really different and dependent upon possible actions. Oh, this next one is really interesting. So what we've got going on here is, in addition to stakes, we've got moral quandaries. Yeah, quandaries. You have words that you have only seen written down, but not but never actually heard them aloud. So I'm just kind of setting that out. All right, so this, I suppose, would be like a kind of a stake, because I mean you'll see what I mean when I read it out. So moral quandaries are obstacles which oppose the moral sensibilities and understanding of the protagonist. Their aim is, as with stakes, to burden and make the protagonist question their goals. Overcoming a quote moral quandary is an important step towards a deeper understanding of a protagonist's character. Think of the conviction of your protagonist and set dilemmas for them to work through. For example, does the life of a single loved one outweigh the life of many strangers? So this would be a example of, yeah, so this would be kind of this brain. So this would be an example of, like character building or character defining moments which are based around their moral values. Like, for example, a thief who really struggles with kleptomania, which is just having an urge to take things, would they rather sacrifice a gem to save their friend? So that becomes a moral quandary of, do I follow my urges, or do I allow my what's it? Do I follow my morals to to assist my friends. I mean, obviously there are other benefits to that, but yeah, so a moral quandary. I don't know, like that's an interesting mix of both a hook and a stake, like put against each other to create conflict. So yeah, like again, for the D&D players out there, this is really helpful. If I was ever to do a campaign, this has really changed my views of how I would plan around it, because for some reason I thought that this was a linear narrative, that it's really hard to keep players on, but understanding that changing around this idea would, yeah, but like it's really changed my mind on how I would put that forward. Alright, so cruel tricks is the next element that we'll be looking at. So cruel tricks are events that the protagonist will suffer through. Contrary to moral quandaries and stakes, cruel tricks have nothing to do with the protagonist specifically. Cruel tricks are the manifestation of the fact that mostly heroes have no control over the world. So I would say this is oh, whoops! Thank you very much. I'm very sorry about that. There we go. Thank you for letting me know. Yeah, whoops. Alright, so there we go. You can just take a moment to pause and read through that if you're more of a reader than a listener. I'm more of a listener myself, but yeah, you can just... Sorry. Thank you for letting me know, Humble Genocide. You are absolutely lovely. Let's just say a particular... Let's just say a stingy, a particularly stingy or like someone who's taking advantage of the war. Let's say there are some people who are price gouging in the middle of a war, so that is a result of nothing can do about that. That's just shit happens. And the same thing, like a meteor falls and destroys their travel with. Yeah, that's just sometimes bad things happen. That will affect you negatively, and how you respond to that becomes how they respond to that becomes, you know, a part of the character. So in many ways, it is a practice in humility and builds the protagonist's character. A common cruel trick is to find out that you've been working for the evil side all along and had no way to know it until now. Like I mentioned earlier, in terms of, I think it was like the moral quandaries. So now what? For a hero to go on a journey in order to find a potion to heal the village, only to find out on his return that everyone was murdered by bandits. Like, that would be crushing. Like, how do you... Like, what do you do after that? Do you just start a new village? Kind of like devote your life to helping people? So yeah, like this is the element of character building. The next component we'll be looking at is herrings. So I'm pretty sure you guys would have heard of red herrings quite a lot. They're popular media, pretty popular media. I don't want to say trope. I'm going to say tool, to just kind of throw off the audience to what they think the narrative might be. So a red herring is a kind of fallacy, an irrelevant topic introduced to divert the attention of listeners or readers from the original issue. In the literature, this fallacy is often used in a detective or suspense novel. Of your plot is the decoy, the thing that your protagonist will believe to be true, only to discover it was all a sham aimed to make them lose time or dishearten them. For example, a footprint outside a window of a crime scene was in fact made by a passing drunk, not the criminal. So yeah, that's actually a really good example, and I didn't actually initially think of noir themed genres to be you know, part of that. I suppose noir is a subgenre, but you guys know what I mean. It's like that usually like the old like investigator coat with like a cigar, low hanging hat, usually talking in a gruff tone about the horrible things they've seen. So, you know, like that kind of detective work. So that's it for book components. Next we'll be looking at, so obviously, just to clarify, World Anvil is directed towards D&D, D&D players, characters, DMs. So this Alright, so used. So relations, and so yeah, again, this is another thing, platform, but it could easily be used in reference to how certain, oops, I'm just gonna hide that, how certain protagonists acknowledge each other or how they feel about a certain place or certain peoples. So you can still expand on that. Like a good example would be, oh right, I was just watching a YouTube video on this. How Delphine, who is a primary character in Skyrim, feels so strongly about the Thalmor, which is like a high elf super government. She feels so strongly about them that she lets her hate of them cloud her judgment. So this would be an example where a not a protagonist, but like a leading character feel about that. But yeah, like this would be, and although she's considered an ally, she's a complicated ally. So yeah, there's that. So protagonists. Whoops, I gotta select my. So. Here's the main characters. You guys can kind of understand what a protagonist is. I don't think it needs a Google. If it does need a Google, have fun in your own time. Learn a thing or two. Great thing. Alright, so allies. Don't feel like that needs a lot of... So neutrals I wasn't expecting to have. So I would imagine neutrals are kind of friends that aren't really friends, or groups that aren't really that's so just to go into the description here, because I think that's quite helpful. So supporting cast or NPCs which are either bystanders or force between the protagonist and their adversaries. So, for example, it could be the force of nature which balances out, you know, civilization versus, I guess, like the natural conservation, or even thinking about Star Wars, where you have the Force, which balances dark and light, I guess, like the good Jedis and the bad Jedis. So, like, although a neutral is an NPC, or maybe even it could be a judicial system. So let's say there are two criminal organizations, and like they are working against them, yes, but they're, in the greater scheme of things, they're just doing their job. They're not intentionally, well, I mean, like, yes, they want to reduce crime, but they are impartial to the criminals, so to say. So members of the story with no initial leanings can be turned into allies or adversaries. That's another thing. Like, a certain number of furs too in order to earn their favor, but up until then, why would they care? So yeah, that's an interesting thing. And competitors. Oh lord, there we go. So competitors is a funny one because I don't really like. I'm just gonna have a quick scroll down. Yeah, so competitors are separate to. So, oh, there we go. So, yeah, this has a really good description of it. Cast with the same goals as the protagonists. These are not necessarily adversaries, but after the same piece of the pie, quest goal, reward, etc. Once again, competitors may become friends or enemies following actions from the protagonists, or may simply remain a constant annoyance. So yeah, that's another good thing. Like, if you're forced to work together with your competitor, you might develop a relationship through a shared hardship. This is actually used a lot in experimental psychology. Someone that you have spent more time with, or a small amount of time with, is preferential to a stranger, and they've actually had this. I don't think I can close anything else, but my internet is kind of doing a bit of a wave here. But yeah, like, or, you know, you could intentionally snub them to improve your chances, and obviously you have made an enemy down the road, even if you've won the competition, or whatever. So yeah, that's another type of relationship that I wasn't expecting to discover. So yeah, I really appreciate going into that. Yeah, like I said, like, I'm learning as much as you guys, if like just by thinking about the different kinds of like sorts of relationships and how they might transform over time. And yeah, it's really interesting to think of a character building sense, what their role is and how it might evolve later down the storyline. So yeah, that's really great. Next one is adversaries. Yeah, so adversaries, wolf in sheep's clothing, blatantly opposed, and nemesis, paragons, or henchmen. So yeah, I don't feel like cool. Right, sorry, I'm not gonna. So yeah, we're gonna move on to the next section, which is the last section for this plot dissection, I want to say. Alright, so backdrops. Alright, so this is really interesting, so I'm just gonna do my little backdrops. And let's just have a look at the description that Anvil has provided. Alright, so as with relations, backdrops give shape to the protagonist's perceptions of the world. They include not only locations, but also locations' threats, such as enemies, weather and other conditions, current events, supernatural effects, current environmental hazards, etc. When writing about your backdrops, consider the ways in which your protagonist will perceive your locations. Should they be terrified or seductively pleasant? Oh, should they be terrifying or seductively pleasant? Alright, so, like, this is really giving me some Isle of Lily vibes, where, you know, like, they could stay there forever. Or, you know, alternatively, Land of Giants. So this is a reference to Jason and the Argonauts. Yeah, so that's, so yeah, it's interesting that it's done from the protagonist's perspective, which is different from the articles we were looking at in regards to locations and settlements. Or, well, that I was looking at alone before I started this relevant stream. To you know, like, this, how a location is interpreted by a player, or what kind of elements do we want to, what kind of feelings or reactions do we want the player to experience versus how they are from the point of view of the citizens. So yeah, that's really interesting to, because like I said, a lot of game development is psychology. Sorry, just a moment. You can tell I'm a little bit sick. I must soldier on. Alright, so the first place is locations. I mean, the first entry is locations. And guys, let me know if you want these articles for yourself. Actually, I think I might just put it up in downloads. Whoops. There we go. And the description provided. So locations describe the physical locale that your scenes will take place. Describe all of your senses when writing your location articles. How does the church smell? Is there lightning, and what can be seen? What sounds can be heard? Is there a taste of the air or a strange magical buzz? So I love the focus on the senses. Yeah, on the senses provided, because you wouldn't initially think. I mean, as someone who spent a lot of time writing, encouraging the senses does add a layer of immersion. So the kind of the reader can really literally feel like they're being there and emulate these senses through their imagination. But I'd never thought of it kind of like a self-referential thing. Because yeah, that can help you create the narrative. Like, if it smells musty, is there a certain kind of like a dust or fog to the air that would encourage, you know, bacterial growth, or, you know, yeah, like mildew? Would it? And then, you know, you can add that to your environment where you have, you know, these black patches from this mold growth, yeah, maybe plants growing in the corner. So taking from the senses, and then expanding on the sensational cues of those senses can help you to build a more immersive environment rather than just a clean, fancy, nice church. Or maybe a nice church might smell of honey because of a special liquor that they make as part of their service. Like, taking those senses and expanding upon them will help you build a more believable environment within the suspension of belief. Yeah, so that's an interesting concept, and like, I'm spawning like location ideas as I'm going. So related locations, so that's just a referential. Yeah. And moving on to threats. So yeah, this was covered very very shallowly in the overall description of what backdrops are a part of. So this could be spear traps, this could be dark forces, these could be, you know, like corporeal enemies that can attack you. This could be, you know, maybe the floor is lava, literally. So let's have a look here at what kind of threats this Anvil kind of provides. So possible sources of danger. They may be environmental, sub-zero temperatures, supernatural, deadly magical radiation, mechanical or simply hostile characters and monsters, horde of bandits, riding rabid unicorns. I mean, I really want to know how they managed to make them rideable. That is a fantastic sight that I would love to behold. Internet is just not doing so hot right now. Anyway, threats, wait, hold on, which your protagonist will encounter when they explore a location. Threats may be as high level as freezing temperatures of planet Hoth. That is a reference to Star Wars, where Luke Skywalker essentially has to, like, crawl inside of his horse mount, I want to say, inside of his mount to stay warm. A battalion of stormtroopers of the Empire, unnamed adversaries, or possibly just a patch of quicksand. So yeah, as described, it could be a number of things, but it's something that the characters have to watch out for, that might make the location more difficult to traverse. Oh, this next one is really interesting for me because I feel like it makes up a lot of the excitement of exploring locations. So, hey, it even provides a list of examples. I love this. Alright, so we have got encounters describe all interactive situations the protagonists find themselves involved with, either with other characters or their environment. A list of example encounters include combat or engagement, negotiation, discussion or interaction, meeting, introduction with cast, travel, exploration, investigation, romance, pursuit, planning, daring enterprise, riddle solving or enigma, disaster, mishap, or survival. So one of the games that I've been playing recently that really takes advantage of this is Ni no Kuni. So it is the Tale of the White Witch, which is a game based around the world building of Studio Ghibli, but the game development expertise of Level 5, which is a game company. And yeah, a lot of the NPCs you interact with are in these environments, and they all have all these different elements, like even looking at a town, combat, so you might run into the local gang. Negotiation would happen with an NPC who might have illicit goods. Discussion or interaction, you know, everyday people going through their lives, meeting or introduction with the cast. So you're there to meet someone in particular that you want to join your party. Travel and exploration, so talking to someone for them to transport you to a different town. Investigation, you're trying to talk to someone to find out where you can find the NPC that you're looking for. Romance, maybe you have a long lost love here who may be here, maybe that's the NPC. So pursuit, you are looking for the boss of this gang as a kind of like a side mission in order to, you know, remove the crime from that area. Planning, so maybe you have to visit the king because your overall quest requires some assistance, so you got to talk to the king. Daring enterprise would be kind of like investing in a new kind of investing in new technology. Riddle solving, maybe someone's maybe someone is, you know, will provide you a special item if you solve their riddle. Disaster mishap would be, you know, a cart has broken a wheel and a cart has come loose and is rolling down a hill, and you have to stop it in time as part of the narrative. Or survival. So maybe, you know, you have to stop by there for food, or maybe you've got a wound that you need to address at the medical center of whatever that is. Sorry, I'm just gonna go get myself some water. Oh wait, hold on. I have some coconut water right here to rehydrate. So yeah, like the different encounters that you might have in the location can very well define that location. So I described a town, but you know, this might change if this is a wild forest where you're only there to talk to some kind of wise woman, or you know, like a wise woman or a shaman or you know, daring enterprise. You're taking some time to visit like this steampunk university. Oh, so sorry guys. Talking, a lot of talking is no good for the throat. Oh great, I've got that high-pitched thing when your throat is just like having a bit of a thing, so it just contracted the muscles. Anyway, so the next element of location interpretation is past events or histories. So maybe it looks a certain way, or oh wait, hold on. If you're histories. There we go. Just a misplaced O. So the great description here. So, past events in this case describe the history of a location, particularly events that may have left a trace. Gears or bodies lying around, or involve secrets to be uncovered. The start of a trail marked by secret sigils. This may be as simple as etching on a tree, like D plus J equals LFE, or the desiccated skeleton of a postman. These are clues that aim to help or distract your protagonist, but they also establish the authenticity of a location as a piece of interest for previous generations, rather than an isolated location out of time. Oh hey! Hello! Hello, Southblatt. Yeah, and so this is a great example of, I covered this in my last stream, in my last game stream, in regards to implicit feedback, and so this would be great examples of points of interest that would encourage the player in a particular direction. So this is, in world building, a very high level, very location specific and goal specific creation of kind of not really interactive elements, but it really shows the kind of expansion that you might do to create a more realistic location, especially since it mentioned that they're not isolated from time. Other people have been here, died here, passed through here, left notes. So it gives you a sense of walking through a place, whether it might be dangerous, specifically if you're leaving. Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that. Hope you have a nice time. Yeah, or I mean, usually dangerous places are what make up most of a game, but even in a town, like thinking about Skyrim, someone has etched a sign of, whether the Thieves Guild leaves little like wood carvings of how much gold there is left in there. So there's that change of someone has been here before and left you a little there. So coming all together, I think this is the last, so this is the last element of plot building. So I'm hoping this has kind of given you more of an idea on kind of creating creating realistic narratives and how each location can be explored, or how different relationships can develop the narrative as to be more engaging for the player. So moving back to, look, what's this? Oh yeah, we were looking at pros last time. There we go. So we were on plot professions. Okay, so this is probably my favorite part of like just gaming in general, like being being like the local. Ooh, sorry, yes, okay, I'm feeling much better after that drink. So like being the local blacksmith or the alchemist, contributing to the community in a meaningful way, or just being self-sufficient in that way, where you don't need to go to a blacksmith, or you don't need a local blacksmith, because you can just go out and, I don't know, get this magical fire crystal and just embed it straight into your weapon because you know how to make slots, or the weapon, just part of the crafting of a weapon comes with slots like that. So yeah, like I love it. Alright, so professions, and we're just gonna do our usual title. And going down into here. Okay, so this is also quite extensive in terms of there are 4 different sections here, but each of them like have, by the looks of it, like 3 or 4, like 4 to 10 sections of like different parts of it. Relations, yeah, so this is quite short. We'll probably be doing this one and then call it a day. But yeah, let's get into it because I'm so excited. Alright, so career. Alright, so what kind of qualifications do you need? So what sort of education are required to exercise? Oh, they've misspelled exercise and that really irks me. So for someone to exercise a profession, so for example like smithing, you'd be like smelting and shaping metal and all of that. So yeah, so qualifications, and obviously you need to be certified by a more proficient smithy to, you know, be your own smithy. Career progressions, so how many steps? That's great. So, you know, do you move on from like how maybe you have to make a few fire pokers before you make a full-fledged sword? So that's interesting. Huh. So this next one is going to be quite relevant to our look at settlements and government styles earlier. So payment and reimbursement. Are they rewarded for doing their craft, and what is the pay like? So something like a communist area, you don't really get paid because part of your job is to, you know, contribute. So there's that. Or, you know, if you're part of a war unit, if you're part of the military, you know, like that's just your job. You're going to get the same servings as everyone else no matter what. You just might get more respect for being a better smithy. So yeah, I mean, payment doesn't necessarily have to be literally pay. It could mean something else. Well, in that case it would be status, even if they don't get financial gain out of it. Benefits. So maybe you might get, so hold on, benefits apart from financial payment, social cred, fame, or other recognition. So yeah, so you know, by virtue of being a smithy, people generally like you because you fix their shit. That's and you know, depending on how good a job you do, they might give you, you know, free stuff or a discount at the store. So yeah, that's one of those things. So yeah, that was surprisingly short. So perception. Okay, so this has got more to do with how people interpret it. So, you know, how's being a smith different to being part of an assassin creed? Yeah, so alternative names. So a smithy might also be called a metal bender. I don't know. It's an avatar. Ooh, we're gonna have a look at types. Okay, so we're gonna open our type section up again. So this would be types of... Oh wait, sorry. Alternative names. I should probably finish that. So what type of profession is it? So let's go into our favorite little types thing. And so we're just going to scroll all the way down. And professions. And what are we going to be looking at? We've got administration and management. Whoop, I'm just going to... We'll know what administration and management is. It's not really too far from our reality. We've got agricultural, fishing and forestry. So these are kind of like food related industries. So agricultural, the tending to of crops. Fishing is self-explanatory, and forestry is the acquisition of wild game. So we have arcane. I haven't come across anything that I feel is you know, needing a Google, but a lot of people don't know what artisan. So they're things that require refinement. So it's how you take from wool to cloth, how you, you know, silkworms to actual silk, or from cloth, from thread to tapestry. The fine goods that require some effort to produce. Consulting, pretty self-explanatory as well. Like, a lot of these things are already in the world, we just don't consider them. I mean, obviously professions, but in a world building sense, we don't realize how many of these are essential to our existence, because, you know, we're just so used to them being there. Construction, culinary, education, engineering. Yeah, so like entertainment. I mean, thinking about the diversity of a huge city, they would have most, if not all of these professions contributing to their society. So, oh, there's a fun one. So after financial and trade. And you know, each of these things can may contribute to you building a faction, or a like a faction. So for example, culinary. So you have like a culinary guild where you have certain quests based around preparing specific meals that give you specific buffs, which you would need some things like fishing experience in order to attain some of the ingredients. So forced labor is a profession, I guess. So I guess you could be a professional slave, or you know, be a slave trader, which, you know, I don't support. Government, a government profession, healthcare. Illicit, so you know, like if you're like the Thieves Guild. Industrial, so that would be the production of goods, so kind of like factories. Yeah, so we're thinking on a larger scale rather than just one smithy. You've got machinery producing many swords, or you know, at that point probably you'd have guns. Industrial. Intelligence gathering, so that's an interesting one. So this would be anything from escorts to spies to street people who know how to source information. So that's interesting. And so yeah, like, and that's another way that you can kind of tag and define smaller characters, as you know, like in every town there is someone you can source information from by paying them a fee or bringing them a specific item, but you can kind of base that around their faction. You can base their faction around that, and base their appearance based on, you know, that career choice and the elements that come with it. Like smithies usually have a smithy apron, cooks generally might look the same, bartenders, musicians might always have like a specific instrument they might carry with them, that kind of thing. Don't see legal a lot. I don't feel like legal problems are really all that big inside games. Medical, I'm really interested in how healthcare is different from medical. So I might give that a Google and give you guys an update. So, healthcare versus medical profession. I suppose this would be my guess is the difference between a specialist and a generalist. So, medical health professionals are doctors, nurses, pharmacists, and dentists that play a key role. General medicine, branch of medicine, chronic acute decisions. So, Okay, so the difference is that doctors who might have a specialization, and then you've got generalists, which are general practitioners or GPs in Australia, or nurses that are responsible for interpreting patient information and doing all the menial tasks that would slow down the doctors in able to help people with more specific problems. So healthcare would be more like nurses, like Nurse Joy, where she just kind of puts them inside the machine and that's it. And then versus a doctor who might be specializing in like Pokemon genetics. So yeah, that was really interesting to look into, just to develop our understanding of our world, and and thus Doctor what's his name at the beginning of Pokemon, where he's like specifically like studying. Well, I suppose that's not really medical, that's scientific, but you guys know what I'm getting at, right? Anyway, so military, political, public relations, that's a big one. Religious, retail. So a religious profession might be more important in a very kind of religious heavy games, where, for example, Bloodborne has a lot of heavy religious connotations. Dragon Age Origins, the paladins have quite a responsive role. So yeah, try not to limit your understanding of religious roles, and even then, like, some of the exorcists are pretty hardcore. Retail, again, you definitely need stores to buy your weapons. Research and scientific. Raw materials gathering, so this could be anything from quarry, stone quarry collection, to mining, to herb collection, I guess, which would be under forestry, or like sourcing clay for pottery. Yeah. So this is what most players are usually a part of: raw material gathering. Sanitation, so you don't see that in a lot of games. I mean, it's definitely very necessary, especially right now, but like, we don't really think about cleaners a lot. I mean, yeah, they pop up as NPCs, but not as NPCs of any particular influence. Like, I can't think of a game where cleaning is, well, I mean, besides like home simulations or stuff like The Sims, but even then, that NPC doesn't have a lot of influence over the world. Like, they might get annoyed at you, but they won't, it's not like they might decide to date your character. So yeah, it's really interesting how, like, maybe not a game about sanitation, but a game wherein the ability to clean, or like they give special powers from being able to clean, might prove more effective against an enemy that obviously relies on filth and dirt, and like the themes of darkness and, I don't know, neglect. So that was really interesting. Social services, source of a lot of controversy in Australia right now. So social services, in terms of I'm thinking of like postage stuff. I'm thinking of Charities, I'm thinking reservations for animals, so something that continues the social. So technology, that one's really interesting because that's different from research and scientific. So you might be dissecting a new fruit to discover its kind of atomic makeup, I want to say, versus someone who's actually developing a new laser gun or something. So yeah, that's really interesting. And then transportation, which again, you don't really think about it, but one of your characters might be, oh, this is really done really well in Hollow Knight, where the bug, which is used for transportation, actually has a personality and has a history of that species being used almost exclusively for transportation, and it having a kind of like a high status because it was so necessary to that society. So yeah, we've kind of developed our types again. So I'm just gonna copy that link. Oh, you guys can't, oh, you can see the little menu. So I'm just gonna copy that link and then paste it into here. There we go. Types of professions. But I think I might have to cut it off here, guys, as I'm starting to get quite worn down. Obviously, I'm not feeling super well at the moment. But we'll have a look at... but it's really interesting because in the future, in the next stream, the purpose of this profession, the social status demand, what kind of people generally participate, and the history of it. So yeah, like going really into the depth of, creating a history and meaning behind this profession, which, might be easier to do something for like alchemy because potions are so necessary, but might not be as easy for something like bouncing back to the types. It might not be as easy for something like actually, sanitation. Yeah, sanitation might not be as easy to form a history for. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Oop, I'm just gonna pop back over here. Yeah, I'm sorry I've been a little bit slack with my social media recently. Uni and it's been really impacting, just, I think everyone's existence right now. But yeah, make sure to have a look. I have cleaned up my Twitter and will be more active there. And like I said, there'll be a new section opening up in my site with downloadables like my Terraria schematics, like the notes when I finish them and post them up for you guys. The curses that I'll be working on again. But yeah, hopefully you guys learnt a little bit just like I did, and expand your idea on building your own narratives, or just being able to talk about that with your friends. Anyway, much love, stay away from everyone, and have a nice time.